Well, a little farther down, we have another sort of Kawhi situation with Steph Curry this time with the ball, where he has an angle to the basket in front of Siakam, but he slows down and then kind of jumps backwards into him to get the foul. The referees gave it to him for free throws. What do you think about this call?
You know, this is a play that has to do with timing. And as we look at it in the slow-mo too, Curry knows exactly what he's doing, and he should. I mean, he's luring a foul. I don't discredit him for that. You see Siakam coming down in his path, and the question is here again, does Curry get to where he wants to go to lure that foul first and then have Siakam go and hit him, or do they do it at the same time, or is Curry doing it illegally? This play really, because of what Curry's doing to the lateral movement, could really be seen as an offensive foul. If we had to weigh it, I'd weigh it 55-45 out of 100%. 55 offensive.
Wow.
But there are moments when you can get to this play. It usually happens, in the perimeter when they come and dribble the ball up and they get in front of the defender and the defender can't stop. That's a good play. As long as the defender can stop and change. Okay. Here it's obvious Curry goes lateral.
Okay.
Siakam does not go lateral. He comes straight down the path. 55-45. And by the way, we're talking about very polished plays. These are the intricacies of officiating that people don't know are going on second by second. So this kind of talk is good for basketball camps, basketball officials also to talk about, and to bring fans and players in it so they understand what the concepts are.
For sure. Well, let's move on to crunch time here in the fourth quarter. They go to a 1-on-1 against Steph Curry. We just did a video. We did a 2-part video on this defense and how effective it was. It freaked Livingston out. It certainly throws the ball away. How can it possibly be that Fred VanVleet was able to get the foul on Curry when it looks to me like Fred VanVleet is just throwing an arm into Curry's chops and then go to the ground? What do you see here that leads to a foul?
This is another difficult play. When you grow up with the clear path play, you see things immediately. I mean, now they go to the camera and visualize it. But when you grow up with the grassroots of having to do this play in your mind, it would look like a clear path because of the one dribble that VanVleet gets. But the bottom line is, before we get to that point, Curry really doesn't do anything. It's VanVleet who wards him off to get to this ball. And I really think the official is stacked. He's a very good play caller, and he recognizes plays. He may have been blocked out by Curry on this play and could not see the VanVleet ward off arm, elbow, forearm to go clear himself to get to that ball. And I think he tripped over his own feet also.
Okay. Well, let me throw this in there real quick, because I will acknowledge that Curry's right knee on our last replay here does catch his left foot, and then that propels it into the back of his own knee and trips him. So I will acknowledge that, like, Curry, does it help that tripping happen, but it's after this very provocative move, stiff arm, like Gale Sayers out there. And
yes.
I think you're right. The stacking seems pretty reasonable. Like, he probably just couldn't read that play easily.
I think when you go to the video, because you can go to a video when you're questioning clear path, you can change that play around. I'm sorry that they didn't change that play around for what the play really needed. They may have been so zoned into clear path and the action, they forgot to really look at the play as it unveiled itself, so to speak. And apparently that did happen because they gave the foul to Curry. And I think it was undeservingly.
Let's move on to our next play here, which is Kawhi Leonard going strong to the hoop here. And this is actually what I want to talk about, is the technical foul they called on Steph Curry. The letter of the law is, now he didn't slam it down on the ground, which is usually an instant technical foul at all levels. But what about this move, throwing it up pretty high and then letting it bounce, indicates a technical foul?
I'm really happy that the call was made for the technical foul on tossing the ball clearly up, way up into the arena, up straight and coming down. And by the way, on its way down, it almost catches referee Eddie Malloy on his shoulder. I mean, it just skims his body on the way down. The bottom line is there's two plays going on. One is this strip play by Cousins. A word to the wise is, don't wind up to strip a ball. I think he's got a lot of ball, but I'm sure he's got some body and arm, but we'll let that play go. But the ball going in the air at that distance way up If it went up to the rim and he's just a little upset with another foul being called against the team, it's not a big deal. It comes down clean, no problem. But as high up as that went, deserving of a technical foul, I'm glad they did that. And I'm glad they did it against one of the most positive gentlemen in the league, Stephen Curry. I mean, you got to it's an even playing field. It's a worthy tech, and it was issued.
Fair enough. Well, we get to the last play, or almost the last play of the game here. One that slipped by my eye originally was the catch that Steph Curry makes in the half court as he's getting double teamed. They don't take the foul. He gets some happy feet here. How did this happen? They didn't catch this easier.
I think on a play like this, you're worried about two things. You're worried about the push that creates the happy feet, or the happy feet occur prior to a push, because both are very, very tight. And the bottom line to this play is, do I have a foul? Do I have a violation? And you got to be sure, because this is a critical call. And if you're not sure, you've got to let it go.
Okay, well, now let's get to the next part of this play, because I know that the last 2-minute report gave a pass to Fred VanVleet saying it was sort of incidental contact. I'm not sure I buy that. It looks like he gets him on the wrist in the left hand, but I think the real thing they missed was Siakam. It looks pretty provocative. I haven't been able to find a different angle, but I think he hits him on the right elbow pretty severely, because, you know, a guy like Steph Curry doesn't just throw a dying quail like that almost gets stolen without anybody provoking it.
No question, VanVleet gets him on the arm, and then I think Siakam gets him at the elbow on the pass. And you know what it is sometimes, and I've been in it many times, sometimes the players save you. And Cliff Livingston saves this play because he comes to the ball and gets it. And all of a sudden, there's no real controversy over this potential foul. But I guarantee you, if there was a steal and it went the other way, Golden State would really be harping on this particular two contacts of the play. So our guys get through this one. And I have had those moments, and you appreciate the players and their abilities to save you from something that could be really bad for you.
For sure. And great reference to good news, Cliff Livingston, not Sean Livingston, but the guys out there who really know their history are going to remember Cliff Livingston too. So look him up if you don't know him. I apologize,
Sean Livingston.
Sean Livingston. But yes, he comes and saves the day. Let's talk about the last play here, because there's interesting coaching sort of philosophy here. Iguodala, in theory, the team needed to foul, right? Because there's only a 2.8 difference between the game clock and the shot clock. And I think my argument for that is that if you were to wait till about 2 seconds on the clock and then you shoot a moon ball, by the time anything happens, it hits the rim, they get the rebound, the game is going to be over. But my question to you, as far as the rule goes, is what if you did moonball it, you know, with a second to go on the clock and 3 seconds on the game clock, and it airballs, and then somebody picks it up after the clock expired, they touch it. What happens in that situation?
Well, it's very simple. If the ball is shot and either the same team or no team gets it and the horn goes off without it touching the rim, the game clock is reset to the time of the double zeros on the 24. It goes back to what the time was on the game clock at those double zeros on 24. So it's an easy play to go back and chronologically put together.
Great point. I didn't realize that they could do that, but that makes sense. So the moral of that story is, if you're going to wait and shoot it, and whatever, make sure you hit the rim, and that way time expires and no problem. The air ball is what you have to avoid. Great stuff, Ronnie. So much to unpack. I can't wait to get started editing this all together. So thanks for joining us. I don't know. I will probably end up seeing you again at least one more time before the finals are over, right?
I hope so, for all the good reasons. And a shout out to Sean Livingston. I remember he was such a hurt young man in basketball in his career. I'm so proud of him for coming back. He's always carried himself very well on the court. And by the way, Cliff Livingston, who also shares his name, is another fine athlete and player and gentleman on the court as well. So to the Livingston people.
That's right. That's good. Good news. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ronnie, for joining us. And don't forget, sports fans, at BBallBreakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Ronnie?
I am in all the time, Coach. Glad to be with you.